Hi, welcome to a quick micro lecture discussing the 3 decision pitfalls in microeconomics. The 3 pitfalls we'll be discussing here are measuring costs and benefits as proportions instead of absolute amounts, ignoring implicit costs, and failure to think at the margin. So this first pitfall, measuring costs and benefits as proportions instead of absolute amounts. Now think about 2 different scenarios. Would you walk to town to save $10 on a $25 item? So say you were about to buy a $25 book or a video game or some other item at a nearby campus store, when a friend tells you that the same game is on sale at a downtown store for only $15. While the downtown store is a 30-minute walk away, where would you buy the game? Thinking about marginal costs, marginal benefits, this would depend on what action you would take. So you were saying that, okay, if I spend 30 minutes of my own time and energy, I can save $10. As long as my time and energy is not worth more than $10, that's the cost. The benefit of the $10 savings outweighs the cost, and therefore you should take that action. So now what happens if I change it to say it's a $2,500 laptop? So the laptop's right here. It's light, it's easy to carry, and it's going to cost you $2,500. Now a friend tells you it's on sale downtown, again a 30-minute walk away, for $2,490. Well, economically, the situation has not changed. So an economist thinking rationally would again look at what's your time worth, time and energy to walk downtown, to take that 30 minutes walk, to save the $10. As long as your time and energy is not worth that, is less than that $10 savings, the benefits outweigh the cost, and therefore that would drive your action, and you would say, I'll save that money by taking that walk. However, most people would not. Psychologically speaking, that $10 saved on a $25 item is 40%. So it seems like a very large amount of the savings, whereas the $10 on a $2,500 item is a much smaller fraction. Now the second pitfall is ignoring. So I'm reminded of a story by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, Sherlock Holmes. This is the Adventure of Silver Blaze. So in the story in Silver Blaze, Holmes is called on to investigate the theft of an expensive racehorse from its stable. So a Scotland Yard inspector assigned to the case asks Holmes whether some particular aspect of the crime requires further study. Yes, Holmes replied, and he describes this curious incident of the dog in the nighttime. And so he asks, and he says to the inspector that there's something wrong with the dog, or this dog, there's some issue there. And the inspector is saying, well, the dog did nothing. To which Holmes replied, that's exactly the problem. The dog did nothing. It's a watchdog. The watchdog failed to bark when the horse was stolen. That then meant that the watchdog probably knew the thief. And this is the clue that ultimately provided the solution to unraveling the mystery. Right? Just as we often don't notice when a dog fails to bark, many of us, right, tend to overlook the implicit value of activities that fail to happen. So this is making sure we consider all of our alternatives, right? If we win a free concert ticket, is it really free? Right? What else would you have done with the evening? What does going to the concert make you give up? It makes you give up some other activity. Right? And it's no longer really saying, should I walk downtown? Right? An economist says, or asks the question, should I walk downtown, or should I watch the end of this movie? Or should I sleep in this morning, or should I wake up early and go exercise? It's really understanding the explicit costs, right, the cost that you pay, as well as the implicit costs, right, those costs you're giving up. And that's the opportunity cost. Now this third pitfall is the failure to think at the margin, and it's sunk costs. Now an example here is eating at an all-you-can-eat restaurant. So suppose there's a local restaurant that offers a $10 all-you-can-eat lunch buffet. Right? So you pay $10 at the door, no matter how many times you refill your plates, there's no additional charge. So one day, as a goodwill gesture, the owner of the restaurant says, 10 random selected guests that their lunch is free. Right? The lunch is on the house. So, and everyone else pays the usual price. If all the diners are rational, right, there should be no difference in the average quantity of food consumed by people in these two groups. right? Because having eaten their first helping, diners in both groups, right, those that paid and those that got the free meal, are asked the following question: should I go back for another helping? For rational diners, right, rational in this case, they have the benefit, they have to basically see what the benefit versus the cost is. Now note that the moment of the decision whether or not they should go for another plate of food, the $10 charge for the lunch is already a sunk cost. They've already paid it, right? They have no way of getting it back. Thus, for both groups, the extra cost, right, the extra cost, that's the margin of getting another helping, is exactly zero. And because it is zero, right, no matter, regardless whether they're paying for the lunch or they got their lunch free, they should be making the same decision, same rational decision based on that amount. Right, the benefit of another helping would be, let's be the same on average for people in both groups. However, psychologists and economists have experimental evidence showing against this. Richard Thaler put out in the Journal of Economic Behavior and Organization back in 1980, right, in his article Toward a Positive Theory of Consumer Choice, and he showed that people in such groups do not eat similar amounts. In particular, those for whom the lunch charge was not waived tend to eat substantially more than for those whom the lunch was free. Right? People in the former group seem somehow determined to, quote-unquote, get their money's worth. Right? Their implicit goal is apparently to minimize the average cost per bite or per plate of the food that they eat. Yet minimizing average cost is not a particularly sensible objective. Right? It brings to mind an individual who drives their car on the highway at night, even though they have nowhere to go, just because they wanted to boost their average fuel economy. Right? The irony here is that diners who are determined to get their money's worth usually end up eating too much. Alright, if you have any questions, please feel free to post in discussions or email me.